Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're going to wait just a few minutes. And while we're going to waiting, I'm going to put some music, but we're just about to get started, okay? Hello again and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Gabriela. I work at Inmind Software as a community manager. And I'd like to introduce you Omar, which is the CEO of the company. He's going to talk to us a little bit more about the company.
Hey, Gabriel. Thank you very much for the intro and welcome everyone. Not sure how many people we have online, but it doesn't matter. Let's talk a little bit about InMind. InMind started around 2008, many years now. Always with the idea and the ethos of going through the different technical and I will say, technical um, stages or eras. At first was about everything about web, then web mobile. At some point it was mobile and so on. So we have been going through that all that season, all those different stages. Around 2016, we started playing around blockchain, Bitcoin specifically, and started working on some cool stuff that everybody can check on our website. Like working with people like Blockstream, some protocol like Eternity, like Suku. So we have been always around I will not say the trend, but definitely trying to understand what's going to be the next wave of technology. Not because it's something fancy or it's something that we can, from a business standpoint, starting to provide services, but more on how is the evolution and how people embrace and start using and start making their own business solutions based on technology. So that was kind of a long presentation, but just to provide the ethos of in mind and how we think about technology, and which is quite related to the topic we will have today around AI.
Absolutely. And then I wanna talk a little bit about what is the subject of this event. We decided to start this series of virtual event on lives to provide some information about the technology sector and provide anything that you think is useful for you, for the community, and to open up the space to talk with you, directly with you, with your question, with your concerns, and of course, your contribution. Without further ado, we start with this first live event, and today we will talking about the true impact of AI on software and businesses. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, the big question is where to start. AI has been in the mouth of, I will say, everybody. It's probably the first time that something that comes from technology, like heavy technology, is on the hands of, I don't like to say regular people, but at the end, it's people that is not so deep into technology, and that's something that didn't happen many times over time. Like having, I don't know, my mother playing around, my father playing around ChatGPT and understanding, and asking questions and taking advantage of AI, for something as simple as translation. So definitely there is a revolution going on there. But as any revolution, I think it's quite important to understand the impact of that revolution, because it's something that, yeah, I really don't remember any technology that has been so that was covering so many places, and at the same time, most
Mhm.
technical person, professionals, medicine,
Every
uh,
sector.
up to, my dad trying to see how to translate some research work that he was using Google Translate, and I told him, look, you don't need to use Google Translate anymore. You can use ChatGPT. It's going to be
Of
way better.
course.
So those big changes affects in different ways depending on what we do in our lives as professionals, as owners, as startup founders. So I think it's very interesting to discuss and to understand, depending on where you are, understanding how those challenges are, and what are those challenges, and how they impact to everybody else.
Of course. Do you want to talk a little bit which are those AI actors that are more important today?
Yeah, absolutely. Mainly, I categorize in three ways the companies that are around AI. I will say there are companies that are making AI, like such
Mhm.
as, I don't know, OpenAI with ChatGPT, Google with Gemini, Anthropic, and some others that are making the basic layer, the funding layer of AI. So. uh,
Yeah.
there are other companies that are more that use AI mainly to boost their productivity, but probably
Mhm.
this is more related to the individuals that are working within a company, and that could be tech company or not, but they are using AI to be more productive. Like try
Okay.
making faster things that they usually take time, making things different, incorporating maybe part of the process that they didn't have using AI. And finally, companies that are mainly startups, I think, but could be regular companies, spin-offs, etc., that are
Mhm.
building AI-based tools. So you have
Mhm.
companies and startups that are creating new products using what companies such as OpenAI, Google with Gemini, Anthropic, and so on are providing as a basic layer. So more or less, I see that distinction between those three companies.
Okay, so we can say we have these companies that have this baseline, that are working with AI, that have their foundation, that is ChatGPT, OpenAI, Anthropic, and so on. And they are those companies that use AI on their layer to boost their productivity, or to make new products, to boost or streamline their processes, etc. And they are these other companies that use AI or use their products um, to make other stuff, or to uh, improve their client services.
Yeah, exactly. I think having maybe a good example will help to discern what are the different kind of companies. So um, on one side you have ChatGPT. That's an end user product that was delivered by OpenAI. But at the end is you are working with the pure um, AI built by those guys. Like you have an engine, you have the GPT, which is a model, that you can interact with it by prompting. But that will be kind of the most basic layer of a tooling. But yeah, it allows to understand and to interact with that. Um, the product itself, in that case, to interact with the OpenAI uh, intelligence, is ChatGPT.
Mhm.
On the other side, you have companies and startup mailing that are creating new products. So let's say I want to make, I don't know, an I don't know, a lawyer kind of copilot. So instead of calling a lawyer for building a contract, well, I might use a specific tool that is my copilot and will help me on creating new contracts because I'm starting to work with a customer. And well, the usual way is hire a lawyer, tell
Mhm.
him what's the contract that you are in need to start working with that company. He will
Mhm.
build a contract, he will deliver that to you, and then you will send that contract to your customer. So a
Mhm.
startup might create a new kind of copilot that is going to be using OpenAI
Mhm.
models, but is going to be specifically trained with a bunch of different contracts, that they know that it works on different kind of
Mhm.
situations. So they
Mhm.
are combining their expertise and they are putting that into a new product that they will
Mhm.
deliver that is using that basic layer on OpenAI. And the most simple one, it's that person that is on his everyday. Let's say I need to write emails, to answer stuff.
Mhm.
Well, usually what I do is I start my email by hello, how are you, blah blah blah. Well, maybe now, instead of thinking how do I tell this, maybe it's some, I don't know, bad
Mhm.
news, or I need to ask a customer for something, I need to ask him to whatever. I
Mhm.
can use ChatGPT now, and
Mhm.
tell, hey, ChatGPT, I need to write an email to my customer, and I would like to, I don't know, tell him this, and that. And ChatGPT is going to deliver that email in a second. I
In a
just copy,
second.
paste, and send the email. So those will be the three different types, and of
Okay.
course you can think on how far this can go on your everyday productivity, or
Exactly.
maybe on creating new products. But mainly those are the kind of companies I identify, or
Mhm.
interacting and participating on the AI space.
Okay. What do you think are their advantages? I mean, in each side of these companies.
Well, in some cases there are advantages. Depends on which side of the on which side you are. I would say um, we can start on the real advantage for the main participant. So it definitely, if you are a person that is taking advantage of AI for being more productive, you are becoming more productive. You can
Mm.
write stuff faster, you can build content faster, you probably can have many options. I like an example a lot regarding design. When you need to create logos, or you need to create images that will support some content you made, and the usual way is you talk to a designer, or you talk to somebody that is around the design, and you ask, look, I need some logo, I need some image for this topic and this and that, and they will do the art, and they will deliver you maybe one, two options. And well, but I need to write my article, I need to go fast, I need to deliver now because everything is faster and faster. So now I can use DALI from ChatGPT, and having, I don't
Yes.
know, maybe 10 different images that are awesome, that I can use,
Yeah.
and I can create that in maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds. It's just a
Mhm.
prompt away.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely taking advantage, because now I'm more productive when I
Mhm.
know how to use it and I know where it makes sense to use it. The probably disadvantage there is I'm making myself too dependent on
Mhm.
on 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 a
Yeah.
tool, on a tool that I cannot control entirely. I don't know what happens. It's like when you are in a blackout. There is no
Yes.
electricity. If I don't have battery, I cannot work. So you are
Mm.
getting yourself into that process,
Mhm.
and so, and the other thing is,
Mm.
one thing is to be dependent, as you might be dependent on your email
Mhm.
client to check email. That's fine.
Mm.
But at some point is when you become dependent from a thinking perspective. I
Mm.
cannot do this task without the ChatGPT tool. I
Mhm.
cannot create an email without, so that's definitely a disadvantage, at least for the short run, I guess. At some point,
Mm.
we will be all completely connected to this kind of tools.
Integrated. Yes.
With this, I'm not saying that, well, OpenAI is going to take over the world.
Mm.
We will be always plugged in, into OpenAI, and that's going to be
Yeah.
part of our everyday lives. Like I don't even think
In
how
every
I'm going,
aspect.
where I'm going to take a trip. Like I'm thinking, and OpenAI is already delivering me options and asking me, do like me to make a reservation, stuff like that. I don't know, but it's definitely
With
something
Elon
that
Musk
is
chip
that is
in our minds.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, Neuralink from Elon Musk company, is Grok, their model on AI from Twitter. So you start joining the dots, and then you have that. You have
You will
definitely that.
have
Um,
it.
on on the startup side, I think it's the most exciting part for
Mm.
for a lot of founders, because it's unlocking the opportunity of one first being more productive, um, being able to define scenarios. When you are a startup founder, you are thinking, you have an idea, you have a business idea, you have a business model. Many times, if it is a technical one, you are creating tools, software that will allow to deliver that product to the
Mhm.
to the broader audience. um,
Of
so
course.
you can do many of those steps by the help of AI now. Like, well,
Mhm.
build me, or tell me about three different scenarios on how the flow, like the money flow is going to be, worst case scenario, best case scenario, stuff like
Mm.
that usually takes some time. You need to play around with some Excel sheets and thinking
Mhm.
on how what could happen. So it can help you a lot on the productivity. But what's more interesting for them is it can help you build in a way that before AI was uh, more expensive, I will say, but at the same
Yes.
time different. So usually, what you have is a company or startup
Mhm.
that is creating a product. They have their product idea, business model. They will need to
Yes.
validate. Into that today's era, where you are going to look out for VC investment.
Yeah.
It's not enough to say, "Look, I have this great idea. This is my awesome team. and I
Yes.
just need some bucks, to start creating an MVP to validate my idea. No, today that doesn't work. Today they ask you how it went on the arena, how it went on the
Oh,
field. Like, did you build it and you deliver that, and how many users you have. So that implies that you need to have in place some product once you get in
yes.
front of VCs. uh, doesn't
Mm,
matter if it is small, easy, dirty, whatever, but has to
mm.
exist, because
Yes,
they need to know that you are validating your concept and your idea where
of
it
course.
matters the most. So usually that process, well, is made by companies like us that are working for those startups and building those first MVPs, to validate their ideas. But now they are using a lot of no code, low code tools that are, pumped by the AI engine. So that is very advantageous, I will say. Not sure if that's a right English word, or mix between French and Spanish, but doesn't matter. I made my point, where you can start building your MVP, maybe with a very simple team that is not so technical, but understand more about how to prompt this to the tool. There are some tools over there.
Mm,
I got some names in my mind. I think one was Pico. There is one that was Creator, and there are a bunch of different tools that
mm.
allows you, without too much technical knowledge, definitely not programming knowledge, starting to build your MVP. So, um,
Nice.
and at the same time, as you need to spend less because you need to bootstrap your MVP, you will definitely be using that before going into some companies and software development companies like ours, to build that first MVP. Now, that sounds great and looks like a very good advantage, but for me, there is a big if there.
Challenge.
Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, um, it doesn't apply to every single case, depending on the kind of product you need to deliver and you need to create. How
Mm,
easy is going to be going through those tools, and this is not for diminishing the value of those tools. I think they are incredible, and they
yeah.
help us on our own job. Like when we do
Mm,
part of projects or we have to do some stuff, it help us too. But it's very important to understand what are the
mm,
limitations and in what problem I'm getting into. Because when you start using those tools, and something similar happened many years ago
mm,
when we were talking about React Native. That
mhm,
was the one of the great tools that Facebook provided to the
uh-huh,
mobile development community, to start building. Now you don't need to build on this and that native, and you need only one code source, for your mobile app. Well, but there are a lot of small letters, and you need to know what's the trade-off. You need to understand what's your dependency, when it makes sense to use those tools. Is it that I have a tool or a product that I'm building that is might be too complex for using this low code, no code? How is going to be my dependence on that tool? Uh, I'm going to go faster for real, or maybe for some cases you really go fast, but then for others it's way slower.
mm,
So those are different questions that I will not say it's not an advantage, or it's not cons, but definitely you need to have that in mind. You need to understand that, evaluate, because as any technology that you are applying to your idea, you need to evaluate that. You need to understand what are the risks, of
yes.
using that. And also you need to understand, what do you own. I remember one
That's very
case. In fact,
important.
yeah, definitely. I remember
What
one
did
case
you
that
want?
was very related to this. It wasn't AI, but the same kind of system.
Mm,
So the platform was built into those kind of engines, and everything that wasn't part of the engine itself was custom development. Um, so at some point, the customer, the product owner says, "Well, I need to go. I need to go away from this platform. So I will take everything I have here done, and I will continue maybe with another provider." You know, and what he realized at that point is that the only thing that he was able to take with him was the custom part. The engine itself, it wasn't his. So he was building a product on top of something that he wasn't the owner, and he wasn't able to do whatever he wanted with. So
Hmm.
part of the things of the risk that we need to evaluate, and startup founders needs also to evaluate, is exactly that: is understanding what are the risks, what's the ownership I have on top of it. What happens if tomorrow that tool stop working? If the owner stop maintaining that tool, how do I
Mm-hmm.
do I need to rebuild everything? So in
That's a
like
good.
any case, it's understanding what is my stage. Maybe I'm just doing this MVP in this way,
Mhm.
because I need to evaluate how it's going to work in the field, and that's fine as long as I know that, well, maybe if on the long run I cannot use this to keep building. It has its
Mhm.
purpose and it needs to fulfill its purpose, and that's it. But yeah, at the end is understanding what are the risks, where
Of
I'm
course.
getting into,
Yeah.
and evaluating if it makes sense. And the last one, like the those that are making AI, I will say they own the ocean today. They are the ones that are making waves,
Yeah.
but they do
Totally.
not care too much about how the rest of the world is going to use this. And in fact, you can see that there is some learning curve about, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe when we do training, we should take care about how biased that model could be, or
Mm.
maybe I should limit what can we ask to the model. Like if you
Yeah.
ask ChatGPT, how can I create a bomb? Well, there are limitations because
Uh-huh.
they understood that, well, maybe we cannot
That's
let
dangerous.
users to use ChatGPT for that.
Mm-hmm.
So they created something. They are understanding how to put limits on it. How it works. There are many things that we see um, that tells us that, like there was I think it was kind of a lawsuit from the New York Times,
Oh,
telling that open AI was
yes.
how's the word, yeah,
Was
I don't, yeah,
training their model with their
yeah. So
articles.
exactly. So there is copyright issues there because OpenAI is creating content that was trained on yeah, exactly. So that definitely shows that we are building AI engines, but we are
Mm,
not understanding too
mhm,
fast, the
mhm,
consequences, and who can use
mhm,
it, and how
mhm,
is being used, and so on, so on. And that will apply also to um, what do we really own when we use ChatGPT. If I create an
mhm,
article with ChatGPT, is it my
mhm,
article? Is it ChatGPT one? Uh,
mhm,
if we have a dependency because we are using, for, I don't know, part of a decision maker, we are using OpenAI. Well,
oh,
is that part of my tooling? And what happens if tomorrow OpenAI stop working? Like it happens usually. Some day to day it happens that the service is out. And systems stop working.
mhm,
So how do we manage that? Do we think on OpenAI as the new
yeah,
AWS? And well, when there is a blackout, it is what it is, or I have other strategies. But well, that's
yeah.
kind of stuff. Those are the challenges they have, but mainly they are building, and yeah, making the path for everybody else to start building on top of it.
Okay. Thank you. That's a great overview for everything in this area. I wanted to ask you, what do you recommend to our final client or customer that wants to make a product or make an MVP? What do you recommend to go to a company that have many years in the file, or that a company that doesn't have many years but maybe they have some interested um, customers or some successful use cases? I don't know, what do
Yeah,
you recommend?
yeah, it's a good question, and I will try to take off my hat of in mind as CEO for a second. But in any case, is what I always try to recommend to our customers. Um, you don't want to force any kind of relationship, with a customer. There are many different needs and many different types of resolutions for those needs, and it's more about being the right fit for each other. Like if you are looking for something very simple, and not simple in the in the simplistic way, but more on the, if you are looking for something cheap, you are not looking for quality, but
Mhm.
you need to build something because your audience is not going to value that. That's fine. Probably I'm not the option for you. um, so I will say, and on the opposite, maybe you are in need of a company that has 200 developers and that you need a team of 300. I don't know, whatever. But you will not be working with a small company because they will not get to the amount of people you will need for your particular case. So um, I would say in today's world, it's more about ensuring that you are with the right partner,
Mhm.
because more than ever is about being very knowledgeable, not just about the technology, but also about how to create products, how
Mhm.
to understand that a product is successful, and that
Mhm.
there are more things than technology that makes a product. um, and that implies that you need to have kind of a niche knowledge of what your customer is trying to build. You need to know about what he's trying to build. You need to support him. So yeah, I would say the recommendation is, as a customer, you need to understand and know what do you need from a business standpoint, but
Mhm.
also from a quality standpoint, and
Yes.
and a knowledge standpoint, because you will find developers of the same technology,
Mhm.
and they are not all comparables. You cannot compare them just because of the, I don't know, the hourly rate. It's way more than just a specific technology. There are
Mhm.
many components today, because
Mhm.
the communities and users in general, they know more, they understand more, they have
Mhm.
much better access to information, to understand
Yes.
immediately what are the other options they have. So we are all living in that world,
Yeah.
and we need to provide solutions that fulfill those needs, my
Mhm.
customers needs, but my customers needs too.
Exactly.
So yeah, so that would be my recommendation. Understanding
Perfect.
as much as possible what's the kind of product you are trying to build, what is needed to know to be able to build that product, and ensuring that you have the right partner from a technical standpoint, but also collaborating with the other parts. I think that's a key factor. That's it's
Yeah.
the factor for success, because yeah,
Mhm.
I remember some cases, where
Mhm.
um, I'm trying to understand what my customer is trying to build, and
Mhm.
among the different questions I make, I also ask, do you have do you, are you going to do some marketing for this product? Do you have
Mm.
some budget allocated for marketing? And
Yeah.
if the answer is no, or what is marketing,
Ooh.
there is a problem there. There is a problem, because it doesn't matter if you build the most perfect and ideal product from a technical standpoint. If there is no promotion out there is no market plan,
Yeah.
and it's not going to work. It's not in today's world. we are
Yeah. If
we
you're
are
not
not in the
able to
90s.
deliver them.
This is, yeah, we are way past that time. So
Mm.
definitely it's important, um to be able to help in other matters that are connected to the technical side, but very, very important too.
Perfect. Thank you, Mar, for that recommendation. We're going to close a little bit this event. Thank you all of you to join us. We invite you to have a free consultation with us to see how you can integrate the latest AI solution into your business. And please know that integrate the latest AI solution into your business is something um, that matters, that experts like us can help you. Um, we're going to to do another live event, maybe in 2 weeks. We're going to announce that in our social media. So please be around us. Please follow us in all our social media networks to see when it's going to happen and the hour and every detail you need to know. Thank you so much again, and see you around. Thank you,
All
Mar.
right. Thank you. Thank you. It would be interesting also to see if the community has some questions, trying to understand more or deep dive. Sometimes it's very hard to talk
Yeah.
about everything, in a short amount of time. So it would be very interesting to know, what people think, what I don't know, maybe there is something I'm saying that they don't agree. I like to have I would like to have that interaction too. I think it helps a lot. And yeah, so thank you very much, Gabby, and let's see what we can talk about next time.
Okay, thank you, Mar. I'm watching the comments. We don't have any, but if you have further questions, you can comment us in our social media, and we're more than pleased to answer you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.